Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and today I'm going to be talking about a brand new gacha based game that has come out recently on the global side. That's right, I'm not playing a JP game this time. However, I do kind of live in Japan, so I do have to play with a VPN. That's weird. Normally I get all the people on my channel are like, sometimes I gotta download a VPN so I can play this game, and we do what we gotta do. It's just really funny that here I am and it's like, well, now the shoe is on the other foot, so to speak. But anyway, I've recently downloaded this game. Its global launch has just happened only a few days ago, and there are definitely a lot of videos out there, and I'm doing this one as kind of a thoughts and impressions. And keep in mind, I am very new at this game. I have really only just started looking at it in the last couple of days, and I've been taking out some different guides and everything and just playing through some different accounts, trying to get, obviously a good reroll account, which is always a trying thing of starting any gacha. And I gotta say that my experience with this game thus far has been a absolute pleasant one for the most part, and that is great. The app I've had no crashes with the game. I've had really no hangups. It runs pretty darn well on BlueStacks, which is very convenient for me because that's what I've been mostly used for streaming and everything. So yeah, overall, this is a gacha-based game, and I think that's the place that we should always start with a discussion on. First of all, if you're wondering about the rates in this game, well, this is basically the rates in it. So here, as you can see, like, there are three types of characters. At this point, like, you play your Brave Exvius, you play a lot of different games, that there are usually 3 tiers of rarities, and here we are. So 1-star characters are 79.5%, 2-star characters are 18%, and 3-star characters are 2.5%. So for people in my channel who play WOTF, it's basically slightly better than WOTF. The gacha itself is not split as far as I am aware. Currently, the gacha that I am seeing right now, the focus gacha, is just characters, which is a pretty nice little thing. Given that, I played a lot of split gachas and a lot of, the cards and everything. So it's kind of nice to get away from that for a little. There are also, of course, when it comes to this gacha, there are, well, paid resources. And paid resources, looks like they're at the start of the game. There is a jumpstart gacha is here, which guarantees you that the 10th character will be a 3-star, which is, of course, the highest tier rarity. But something to note is when starting this game, you actually do the game guarantees you your first summon in the game is going to be a 3-star summon. And from vague research, it seems like even some of the lower tier characters do have their use in this game. That's something that usually I look into when talking about gachas, is the fact that you want your characters, you want like lower tier characters to be useful as well. And it definitely, from my experience, has been that, well, 3-star characters are better. They have better stats. They obviously have the virtue of being higher tier. Basically, your 1 tier can go up to 2-star, 3-star, and Awakening does give bonuses. 3 stars just seem to be very strong out of the box. A couple of different accounts I was playing had, like, this one actually had a fair number of 3 stars, whereas the other one had some 2 stars and 1 stars and only 1 3-star, and I ended up hitting more difficulty spikes like way sooner. So it should be noted that, like, the kind of expectation if you are re-rolling in this gacha system is probably to get 2 3-stars to start, 2 different 3-stars. And I didn't find that incredibly difficult. To go down to the re-roll experience for a second, the re-roll was easily one of the best re-rolls experiences I've had in a while. That is, of course, keeping in mind that I haven't re-rolled in something like Dragalia or Epic 7 for a good long time, which I know that both of those are making improvements to their systems. So that's slightly a little bit different. But talking about this game running on BlueStacks, using a BlueStacks modifier, which I'm just going to check here. I think it was called BS Tweaker, version like 6 or whatever, version 6.7. Made it really easy to go into the files and actually just reset it without downloading a ton of data. Was very, very fast. Didn't take a lot of technical know-how. Very easy. And the reroll experience itself, just guaranteeing you a single, 3-star high rarity character at the start, is pretty nice. I actually do really like it. I think that obviously the rates are not necessarily the best, but I really do. I really have liked the reroll experience. For the number of rerolls that I kind of had to do to get an account that I was pretty happy with, it wasn't really that bad. And going back to the gacha from my experience has been roughly about, I think, doing multi-pulls, I would say about 70% of my pulls have not had a 5-star in it, whereas about 30% have. Obviously, basically just luck kind of thing. Yeah, it has been, the experience with the gacha hasn't been really negative or anything like that. And I have been getting some luck on some of the accounts. So I do think it is possible. When talking about the reroll experience too, there are certain characters that I think you should be aiming for. Again, not super big expert in yet, but taking a look at it, like as you can see here on this animation, you can see some of these 3-star characters being advertised. And something to note is that here, this character actually just showing up on screen, Makoto is actually probably the one that you do want to reroll for the most, mainly because she is a very good character for part of the game that will help you get more currency, so you can do more pulls so that you can win the video game kind of thing. But yeah, Makoto is definitely one of the characters that I think you should be aiming for if you're looking into spending money. I don't think that the gacha value in this game is like super great compared to other games. I think it's fine kind of thing, but I wouldn't say that it's like incredible or the best experience I've ever had. It's just a fairly solid gacha experience from what I've had seen so far. That's probably roughly feels about the same level of pricing so far compared to some of the other gachas played. But again, I haven't spent any money at this point. I haven't not in theory going to spend any money, but taking a look at just the layout and the navigation of the game itself, pretty nicely denoted, pretty just really nice setup, I find, where you have your home screen is really easy to get to. You have your character screen. Here's where you check out all of your characters. As you can see, running this account that I've actually ended up getting pretty darn lucky on, humble brag, not spending any actual real world money. The character screen, everything is particularly pretty nice. When it comes to character development, for people who maybe play Brave Exvius or Wodev, or potentially Dragalia Lost, characters are increased not only by level, but also by equipment. By filling all of the equipment slots, you can basically rank them up, which potentially gets them new skills and everything. Leveling their skills, and Ascension, which if you're played other games at this point, you kind of know where this is going. So you get memory shards. Use the memory shards to awaken a character to a higher tier, which makes them better, higher stats, you know the drill kind of thing. In terms of getting the shards, again, still pretty new to this, but it seems like you can farm some of them from different places in the game, whether it's from hard story mode or from doing dungeon runs or doing I'm blanking on this really quickly. Arena stuff or clan battles, which clans are like guilds for my Wodev people. There are different ways to get different characters, and it is not just spending money to get this or necessarily spending resources. You can actually farm these character shards in game. And at this point, it seems like a long process, but maybe that's kind of the point of it all. Either way, character progression is basically, it feels like you can make progress on your characters. Taking a look at quests, there is an arena for PvP, there is clan battle, which is one of the supposed major things in this game. There is also the grotto, which is kind of your leveling, get EXP and mana to improve your characters. Dungeons, which are a little bit more difficult, and also we have the main story here, which from my early experience is kind of interesting because on a previous account, like I said, I was kind of running into a little bit of early difficulty where a lot of my characters just weren't cutting it by chapter 3. And that's kind of interesting that there is a little bit of a difficulty spike. Taking a look at the combat now, which is of course always important, something to note for farming the equipment that you get out of this to improve your characters. There are skip tickets, so that system is always really nice. I'm always really happy to see that. Let's take a look right now. Battle works on characters being either kind of in the back, middle, or front of a party. And most of the game is actually based on just auto playing. You can set it up to be auto and quick right from the start. You don't need a royal rank like you do in War of the Visions. And taking a look at it, characters do have flashy abilities. We'll slow this down a little bit so you can kind of see. And one of the big interactions you have in this game in terms of combat is really just choosing when you want to activate your character's abilities. So obviously this game seems to be, from my experience, more of a kind of optimization problem where it's like, okay, when do I push my abilities? How do I build my party? How do I keep my party growing strong? How do I manage, character relationships, building bonds with characters and everything like that. So there is some really nice stuff that I like here. Like I said, playing War of the Visions, I do like optimization problems. I do find those kind of fun. And that is what is kind of in a lot of parts of this game. I am curious what PvP will end up being like, what clan related stuff will end up being like, but so far game seems pretty cheery. Love the animations, love the artwork of it. There is, if I can talk about thoughts and impressions just on something that I'm a little less crazy about, it is a little too anime. It is a little too most of the gacha the gacha is essentially all female, which might be a turnoff to some people. Also, with that being said, the character you play as is a male character, and it seems to be like one of the few males. So a lot of the females tend to gravitate towards the male character, which to me is not like the thing. I don't really like that kind of situation where there's like 100 girls tripping over one guy. I find that to be not necessarily my cup of tea, and it may not be your cup of tea either. So just keep that in mind when you are doing it. But overall, I really like the design of this game. The menus are clean. The loading screens have little comics to them. And even such a thing like the guild house is just really adorable to kind of watch your characters interact with each other and kind of get into conversations and go over to food dispensers. You can customize like in terms of like how your shop looks. So let's just go in here. Let's buy a handy stew pot. Okay, I'm just gonna put it like right here, I guess. Yeah, the middle of the room. And kind of just check it. I'm just going to leave this on so maybe you guys can get some interactions and see the character models. But there does seem like there's some like really, really, really nice animations and attention to detail. And it really seems like a lot of the characters do have different personalities. The green-haired girl that you can see up in the top right is one of my favorites just because she's a tank character, but she has an ability where she can change into a ghost. so she doesn't get hit by attacks, and she turns enemies into pudding so that she can eat them and regenerate her health. It's really weird and kind of quirky and everything, and I actually just really kind of like this. Overall, like, my impression of Princess Connect Redive, it does sometimes go a little bit too far in terms of, like, I don't really want to say pandering or insult any of the player base who likes this kind of stuff. It really does cater a little too much towards fan service and, you know, a little too much attention towards the player at large. But I would be lying if I didn't say that I really kind of like the aesthetic of the general aesthetic of this game, the kind of cutesy atmosphere and everything. It's a pretty fun little gacha game that I've only been playing for a short amount of time, but I would recommend it to players out there who are looking for maybe something more of, maybe if you want like a very casual game. I do have heard though, from checking out some stuff about the JP side, that like when it gets into it, clan battle and potentially arena do get quite competitive, and there does seem to be even early on, it seems that there is some good potential to have some difficult content, and I do like having that. So yeah, I think there's a really good range of stuff in this game, and I would definitely recommend anybody who's interested try it out, because I've been enjoying the general part of this game. And if I can just make a couple of recommendations for characters if you are re-rolling, I'm only going to make 3 recommendations in this video. There are good 3-star characters that I'm not going to talk about because I haven't had enough experience with them, but I am going to specifically label 3. First one, Makoto, already talked about her. She's supposed to be almost essential for clan battles, and she's really only used in clan battles. She's still a strong character, but that seems to be super important for getting resources in this game, especially like gacha resources for free. So if you're re-rolling, that's probably the one you want to try for. However, as I have talked about before, this character right here, Miyako, is one of my personal favorites. I love the design of her, but she is one of the best tanks in the game and has made my life so much easier getting through content. She's just really good, and I recommend her a ton, if for no other reason than she turns enemies into a flan and eats them, and that's amazing. And she can also turn into a ghost. Weird, but cool. And one other character is Maho here. Maho is one of the, from what I can tell, best healers slash support in the game. She has really good buffs for the entire party. The difference that she has made on my account on this account as opposed to other accounts I've tried, she is just really good at keeping your characters alive and healing them, and still dishing out some damage. So yeah, she is a character that I recommend very highly if you miss Makoto, but you get her plus another 3-star. I think your account's pretty good. So anyway, yeah, that's about it for this video. There's tons of great resources out there, and if there's an interest, I wouldn't mind doing some more content about this game in the future, but I'm enjoying it. If you're interested, give it a try, and potentially join me on a live stream or two to play this game and enjoy it together, because I do think it is enjoyable. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.